Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Cision's third annual CommsCon. I'd like to welcome back all of you who joined us in previous years, and a special thanks to all of you who shared feedback on last year's event. It was wonderful to hear so much positive feedback, which really motivated us to do this again, albeit in a slightly different format. For those of you who join us for the first time, welcome. I really hope you enjoy the next few hours, and please do share your thoughts with us at the end of the day when we wrap up. My name's Tom Ritchie. I'm the Managing Director of Cision UK. This is my 19th year with Cision, and I've had various roles during my time with the company, including living and working in our head office in Chicago. And I was actually previously Managing Director of Cision UK in 2012, and was really honored to step back into the position in March of last year. Although when I accepted the role, I had no idea that the next day I'd be shutting the office down and moving our entire business to remote working, where we've been ever since. That said, I'm delighted that we can kick things off today. Now, this year's CommsCon may look a little different. Certainly, my home office is a slightly different backdrop to that of Hawker House. And sadly, we won't be providing food or drinks or any real networking opportunities. And although we can't meet in person, we really wanted to continue the CommsCon legacy and offer a program where PR and comms professionals could be inspired for the year ahead. Today, we've got an amazing agenda lined up for you, and I, for one, am really looking forward to hearing from all of our speakers. This morning, we're going to hear from Maeve from Budweiser on how they responded to the lockdown to address the risk faced by that most sacred of British institutions, the pub, followed by addressing a topic that's rightly returned to the limelight in 2020 following last year's BLM movement. Salma will moderate a panel of influencers around diversity in communications. We'll then take a short break for lunch. I hope you've got something nice lined up. And at 12:50, we'll reconvene for the State of the Media panel. We'll be joined by top journalists and influencers who will reflect on the impact of 2020 and share their predictions and insights for the future. We then have our comms industry panel, where we'll hear about how innovation during turbulent times has generated success at KPMG, at Zoom, which has now become a verb, and we'll also have an agency perspective from Blurred. Jamin Spitzer from Microsoft will then hold a fireside chat, sharing his thoughts on emerging patterns and trends in measurement and insight. And to close the day, Hotwire's CEO Barbara Bates will give her keynote on how the new wave of tech revolution has pushed organizations to deliver a new normal through their services. I'd like to say a massive thank you to all the speakers for taking part today. It really is great to have such an impressive lineup. I hope you're looking forward to what promises to be a thought-provoking day of insight, discussion, and debate. Now, before I hand things over to our wonderful host, Polly Blake, I'd like to just take a minute to tell you how I and we at Cision want to embrace the new era of communications. At Cision, we believe in the power of data and technology to transform the communication industry by marrying the art with science. We believe in the importance of understanding your customers and your audiences so you can connect with them most effectively. And we believe in the value of earned media and the need to accurately measure its true reach and its business impact. Most of all, we believe in the strategic role played by earned media to help you deliver your organization's objectives. And these beliefs drive us every day as we build the industry's most innovative and relied upon solutions to help you take your PR to the next level. Now, if you'd like to hear more about how we can help you on your earned media journey, please don't hesitate to let us know. There are various options on the screen, which Polly will describe in a moment, that will help you connect with us. So welcome. That's it from me. I really do hope you enjoy today's sessions, and I will now hand you over to Polly.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Tom. I'm Polly Blake. I'm an account director working in the corporate team at Cision, and I joined just under a year ago, just as Tom was taking over and we all went into lockdown. I've been working in PR and marketing for about 10 years now. I started at Liberty doing an internship. I then kind of went into publishing and some advertising. And then my most recent role was in a marketing startup company. And yeah, now I'm in my current role at Cision, and I'll be your host for today. We've got an exciting day ahead with an agenda that has been designed to support comms professionals in embracing a new era of comms, and I really hope you enjoy it. A few housekeeping points from me before we get started. Firstly, you can submit your questions to the speakers in the Q&A panel in the left-hand side of your screen, and we'll leave some time at the end of each session to try and get through as many as possible. And as Tom mentioned, you can book a meeting or a demo with us by clicking on the widgets on the right of your screen. You can also open up a group chat at the bottom. To join the next session and to quickly transition between them, click watch session on the right hand side of your screen, and it will automatically take you there. There will be a 5-minute transition time between each session to give you enough time to get set up for the next one. There will be a couple of breaks throughout the day, a 30-minute break at lunchtime at 12:20, a 10-minute afternoon break at 10, and finally we'll be finishing the day just before 5. And of course, we highly encourage everyone to use social media throughout the day. We'll be tweeting using the hashtag #ComsCon21, and we'd love to hear from you too. So without further ado, I'm thrilled to welcome Maeve Atkins, who is the External Communications Manager at Budweiser Brewing Group, for our first session of the day. Maeve will be talking through Budweiser's campaign to help save pubs during lockdown. Over to you, Maeve.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Really great to be here with you all today. Wanted to say a big thank you to Cision for putting this conference together and for having me on. My name is Maeve Atkins, and I head up external comms at Budweiser Brewing Group UK and I, which is the UK arm of AB InBev, the world's leading brewer and brewer of many beers you've probably tried, like Budweiser, Stella Artois, Corona, Bud Light, Camden Hells, and Beck's. And I am talking to you from my flat in Southeast London, but I originally am from Washington, D.C. So I am going to talk to you about a program we launched during the initial lockdown last year called Save Pub Life. It's a program I'm really proud of, and it's had really amazing results, so I'm excited to tell you about it. So let's start by taking you back to a date that will go down in history in the pub trade. That date is March 20th, 2020. And on March 20th, before there was a national lockdown, Boris Johnson instructed all pubs and restaurants to close with no idea of when they would possibly be able to reopen to stop the spread of COVID. And we know it was the right thing to do, but it was the beginning of a really uncertain time for people in our industry and people in most industries. And basically, as a result, the entire industry ground to a halt overnight. And like the furlough scheme hadn't come in yet, pubs were threatened with shutting permanently. There was loads of extra stock, extra food. It was a really difficult time for everyone. And regardless of what industry you worked in, there were just like so many unknowns. And our beloved pubs are pillars of our communities in the UK and a vital part of our culture here. Definitely my favorite part of living here. And they're important to us, to Budweiser Brewing Group as a business, but also to us as, you know, our families and part of our communities. So we knew we wanted to do something. So just going to go to the next slide. Budweiser Brewing Group sells beer in a lot of pubs, which you might have seen over back in the day when pubs were open. And we do everything possible to make sure that we are really good partners for our pub customers. So we don't just want to come in and, you know, drop off the kegs and leave, but we want to be the best supplier possible for all these thousands of pubs we work with. We give them discounts on things like BT Sport and energy bills, and we help them with marketing and social media. So when COVID hit, it was never really a question of whether we would do something to help pubs. It was just figuring out what that something was. So enter Save Pub Life. So within a week, Budweiser Brewing Group had launched Save Pub Life, which is a scheme to help pubs stay afloat during lockdown and give them cash, basically. Our main insight for this was that while pubs could probably look forward to, you know, lots of footfall and lots of spending when pubs reopened, that the lack of cash during lockdown would put a lot of pubs actually at risk of going out of business and never reopening. So Save Pub Life was a very simple platform where people could buy gift cards from anywhere from £10 to £100 to use in a participating pub when it reopened. And Budweiser Brewing Group would match the value of the gift cards and send the money to the pub now. So the pub would get double the money of the gift card straight away, not when they eventually reopened. So this was the really key part of the platform. So obviously launching this within a week, there were challenges. The first one was getting pubs to sign up. We needed pubs to sign up for the platform, basically. So when you logged in, you could find a pub near you to buy a gift card. And we sell our beer in thousands of pubs, so we invited all of those pubs to participate. But we also wanted Safe Pub Life to be available to any pub, any restaurant or bar, actually, or like event space. They didn't have to stock our beers. And then also, when people went to spend the gift card, when pubs reopened, they didn't have to buy our beers. They could buy whatever they want, food, whatever. We just wanted to provide financial support. We also needed to set up the tech really fast. We needed it to be really nimble and easy. Like, we didn't want pubs to be put off by paperwork. And we're a big company that, there's a lot of paperwork. And by using internal expertise, we were able to set up a platform really quickly that made it super simple for pubs. All they had to do was fill in their details and match a Stripe account to their account and sign up if they didn't have one. And that meant that they were on the site, they could sell gift cards, and crucially, they could get the money. And then we were able to set up e-gift cards for post-lockdown really easily as well. And then the last challenge is where PR comes in. We needed to get people to buy gift cards. We wouldn't be able to use all the match funding and reach our goal of £1 million if we didn't sell a lot of gift cards. So in terms of PR, this platform really had it all. It was a trade story first. It was Budweiser Brewing Group supporting our pub partners in this industry and sector that we rely on and love so much. But it's also a corporate story. It's helping people support their local communities and us supporting our local communities as well. And then it's also a consumer PR story. We're telling people you can buy a gift card, you can actually help, and you get something out of it as well to support your local pubs. So, how did we get all this done in a week? So pubs closed on Friday, and on Monday on Zoom, the idea was presented by our in-house marketing agency with the view that we could launch in 3 to 4 weeks. We really wanted to help pubs a bit sooner than that. So we pushed and pushed to see if there was any way to move up the timeline a bit. So the team worked really hard and figured it out. And the next day we got the go ahead to launch that Friday. But we had no website, we had no pub signed up, no comms plan. So we had to get started right away. And on that Thursday, the day before we went live, we engaged with all of our customer pubs. So the pubs where we sell our beer and we know the owners under embargo, basically, told them about the program. And this is that, so when we launched in the media and people went to safepublife.com, it wouldn't be empty. They would see a lot of pubs. And even if they didn't see one near them, they could submit it to be added to the site, and it was added within a day. And then on March 27th, that was a Friday, a week after pubs closed, we went live first thing in the morning. We had hundreds of pubs sign up on the first day to be part of the scheme, and thousands of gift cards sold, averaging about £35. And pubs got the money straight away, and it got a really, really good response, which I'll go over in a bit. And it was going really well. For weeks, we were selling gift cards, pubs were doing their own marketing, rallying their communities, posting on social media. We had almost 2,000 pubs on the platform. But it was really important for us that this wasn't a quick gesture, but something with long-lasting impact. And we quickly realized that comms would have to play a key role in this to keep Safe Pub Life front of mind and drive pubs to sign up and drive people to actually buy gift cards. There was a little bit of advertising in the kind of median stage, But we needed to create moments in PR that would continue to drive people to the site, because after the launch, people were not going to Save Pub Life, on their own. So we needed to take them there. So once we had launched, and that was all, behind us, we mapped out 3 key milestones on the journey to help us get to our target of £1 million in total donations to the trade. So that includes the gift card purchases and our match as well. And also, we'd effectively created this cool brand, Save Pub Life, with its own logo and a lot of media coverage that we wanted to keep using. So the stages that we decided were rallying the community, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and a safe return. And first was the launch. As I mentioned, on March 27th, a media announcement launched the platform to national, regional, and trade media. And we talked a lot in our press release and all of our materials about our commitment to pubs and our commitment to supporting local businesses during this time and supporting local pubs that are so important to everyone in this country. And we brought it all to life with a quote from a pub owner that had just signed up to the scheme and was excited to see, how he could rally his community to support him as well. And then we had a big interview with our UK president, who's on the slide, Paola Lindenberg, on Ian King's show on Sky News, which brought a lot of awareness to kind of a business-minded consumer that we think would be the target audience to buy gift cards. And then pubs were also provided by Budweiser Brewing Group with these comprehensive toolkits with assets to advertise the scheme to their own locals on their own social media pages. And we sent emails each week with an update on match funding, new assets, new strategies to help pubs reach their customers, and put together videos with the pubs that had made the most money on how they had done it so that we could get more pubs involved and more pubs could make more money, basically. So the next stage and slide is momentum. We wanted to keep momentum going for Save Pub Life. We still had match funding left. This was probably April or early May. We wanted to get a bit more publicity to remind people of the program so we could reach our goal. And we also wanted to tap into the British love for the pub. So we decided to use the tried and true PR method of doing some consumer research. We carried out research that found that 93% of Brits were keen to return to the pub upon reopening. I think 90% of those people said they would go on the first day. But they all demonstrated that safety was important, with 40% claiming they would be more likely to visit if staff wore face masks. And this is when very few people were wearing face masks, out and about. And this research was really helpful for PR because it drove, more human interest coverage in print and online media. But also, we were able to give these stats to our trade partners. So we created another trade press release that just gave them all these insights and advice for pubs and bars who were beginning to think about reopening and what they would do. And it also helped inform our business, actually, our business strategy to offer masks to our pub partners when it came time to reopen. And to complement this, from a PR point of view, we held a broadcast day with one of our spokespeople at Budweiser, and a local pub owner joined him, and we did 75 radio interviews. And we know that local radio was more important than ever for people during lockdown. So it was a really clear priority channel for us, and it hit kind of people in every area of the UK. And we also organized some case studies with publicans, including a great pub owner named Lawrence, who owns a pub in Ascot that had benefited from the scheme. It's called the Thatch Tavern, if you want to go. It's really great. He was interviewed about the campaign for Sky News and ended up being really supportive of the campaign. He hosted us on reopening day as well. And on wonderful reopening day, 4th of July, very important to me, pubs opened. It seems a bit weird to look at it now that pubs are closed again. But we had our BU president, who's in the middle of that photo, do another interview with Sky News that day, who we luckily asked to come visit the pub, and they came. And we also at Lawrence's Pub had all of our new like safety offering for our pub partners up in the pub. It was a really, really good day and a good way to round out like that phase of the campaign. Because when pubs opened, we stopped selling gift cards because it was time for them to be used then. And we had reached our goal. We made a little over £1 million for local pubs, money that pub operators have told us they were able to use to purchase safety equipment, restock kegs. And it was basically just cash for them when they had nothing coming in for, I think it was 100 days. So even though we weren't selling gift cards, we wanted to keep Save Pub Life branding. We loved it. We love the platform. So we transitioned SavePubLife.com to offer loads of reopening support for our pubs. And not only to our pub partners who we, there's a portal for people that work with us to access, benefits and support all the time. But this was also going to be open to all the pubs that took part in Save Pub Life. So they don't necessarily sell our beers and know all the support we can offer, but we added them to this scheme so that they could get things like takeaway cups, discounts on hand sanitizer and masks, this like mobile app we developed for pubs that didn't have their own so people could order to the table. And this support was now available through the Save Pub Life website and under that brand. And to promote this, we arranged high-profile interviews with our UK president and a few other spokespeople at Budweiser, including, we had like a very strong week of coverage, including, the Telegraph, Sky News, and the Morning Advertiser, which is the most highly regarded trade publication for pub owners. So here's a quick look at that. And then here are our results. We had over 200 pieces of coverage across lots of different platforms and publications. And then some pubs started doing their own PR, which we helped them with a bit, and contacting their local newspapers to talk about Save Pub Life, which was awesome. We also appeared in Matthew Paris's column in the Times because he just happened to buy a gift card for his local pub, which is when we really felt like the campaign had reached a new level and was, part of the conversation now. So the result, I already said this, but we're really proud that by June we were able to raise £1 million that went directly to pubs when they needed it most. It went to about 1,500 pubs. But wait, that's not all. So obviously pubs closed again in November and then again. So we wanted to do the whole thing over again at Budweiser. And I won't go into, the mad dash to re-sign up pubs and figure out data and all that. But basically, in November, we relaunched Save Pub Life with a Christmas twist. People could buy a gift card for a friend for that friend's favorite pub, and Budweiser Brewing Group would match it and send you, the original purchaser, a gift card as well for the same amount in the same pub, so that when pubs reopen that magical day, you can, if it's, in the guidelines to do so, go enjoy a drink with your friend. And the purpose of Budweiser Brewing Group is to bring people together. And so this really connected with what we do as a business. And again, pubs got double the money now. And we also gave the campaign a smart drinking twist, which you can see on the slide. We used our 0.0 beers as a nudge to encourage people to think about drinking responsibly over the holidays or whenever they use the gift card. And through this campaign, we've now raised 1.5 million for pubs when they needed it most, which is awesome. So a bit about what we learned doing this. Speed was very important. We needed to get out there as soon as we could. We launched really luckily before furlough came in. So people were still working at pubs and closing them up, which meant that they could take a second and sign up for the platform. And then they could go on furlough and sell gift cards without having to do very much. And while the scheme received a great deal of support, it was really key to address safety concerns of people returning to the pub. We heard that, time and time again, and it helped inform our pubs that were, reading our coverage and hearing from us that were our customers, but also our business. And then the third thing is that pub owners proved to be incredibly effective advocates, both in like marketing the scheme to their local customers and raising money for their pubs, but also championing the vital role of pubs to the media. Budweiser Brewing Group doesn't own any pubs. So we work with partners who can talk about the importance of pub and the employment of so many people and the importance of pubs in neighborhoods. So lastly, regional media was really, really important in driving both gift card sales and pub signing up to the platform. We did a lot of regional media with the radio interviews, and we found that to be really helpful, reaching people who might, in lockdown, be listening to the radio all day. So the future. This is Lawrence, who owns the pub, who's really great. One of the most important things about Safe Pub Life is that it now forms the foundation for Budweiser Brewing Group's future plans around supporting the British pub industry. We want to be a true leader in the recovery of the hospitality sector. We know we're still in the midst of it and we don't know what's next. We can hope all we want for an amazing summer filled with the Euros and parties and lots of pubs being open and people getting together, but we just don't know yet. We just don't know when that will be and what the guidelines will be when we get there. But we do want to be a leader in the recovery, and we're committed to supporting pubs through the challenges that lie ahead. And perhaps we'll do that under the Safe Pub Life scheme. We don't know what the next phase is for Safe Pub Life, but we're thinking about it all the time and are looking forward to kind of reviving it as a brand as and when we can. So that is it from me. Now, thank you very much for listening. I think I will answer some of your questions now. So Charlie asked, is it down to you and your team to offer media training to those front-facing representatives? Yes, it is, but I usually would hire an expert media trainer journalist just so they can give that awkward feedback. I do media training on my own if I need to, but sometimes I feel like there's feedback that is a bit awkward for me to give. If someone touches their hair too much, I know I do this, or says too much, I also do that, or says something like awesome or super. It's a professional will pick that up so much quicker than I will. And so for this program, I brought a media trainer in on Zoom just before a lot of those interviews to make sure that we nailed the key messages. And also that some people at Budweiser Brewing Group, some of our spokespeople are not from the UK. So they, we really want to make sure that they are connected with, how pubs and media work here because they might be new to the country. So it's a good question. So Emma asked, I lost it. Do you have a reputational measure for the campaign, how consumers feel about Budweiser after Safe Pub Life? We do. We do surveys at Budweiser every month with our key kind of the demographic that we feel is a key opinion former that we want to have a good view of our business. And we survey, I think it's 400 to 1,000 people every month. And we did see during COVID that when we had big spikes of news, we also had big spikes of sentiment. And, it could have been, we don't know exactly why. It could have been because people were watching the Budweiser Was Up ad on TV, which had a lot more budget behind it than Safe Pub Life. It could have been because people were seeing Safe Pub Life media or hearing it on the radio. It could have been because people were, taking part in a big quiz that Bud Light did. We don't know exactly why, but we do tend to keep track of how, our key demographic is feeling about Budweiser at any given time. And next question, Jenny asked, did you get regional radio coverage via BBC GNS? Did you just use Lawrence or identify willing publicans in each area? So we did get regional coverage via BBC. We used Lawrence for that interview as well. And some radio stations found their own publican in their local area and they would use them. But we used Lawrence for all the interviews where the radio station had not identified a specific pub owner. And, you know, it would have been amazing to get a pub in every neighborhood. But we did so many interviews that it wasn't feasible really to do so. But we had the same Budweiser spokesperson on every interview and then Lawrence on probably 90% of them. So Karina asked a really good question. Is this a campaign that Budweiser put in place just for the UK because of the strong pub culture? Or this is something that can be replicated in other regions as well? So our global marketing agency, internal agency is called Draftline, and they came up with this campaign. And because they are located in the UK, and it was we had the right team in place to make it go live really soon. We were like the pilot of Safe Pub Life. So the UK launched it, but then we launched it in like 10 other countries using maybe a different name, a different language, but the same exact mechanic, the same type of website. And through that, we've raised millions of pounds and euros for pubs and the local restaurant and hospitality industries in those countries. And those, you know, my colleagues at other AB InBev markets are, you know, figuring out the legacy of their Safe Pub Life versions as well. But it was kind of born out of British love for the pub, but it was really quite like clear that in other countries there is a similar feeling towards, you know, that their hospitality industries. And so we wanted to support the hospitality industry in every country anyway. And a gift card scheme was a really good way to do this. So we did replicate it in several countries. So, Georgina says, did you have any celebrity influencer endorsing spreading awareness of the campaign, either organically or paid for? So we didn't. I think we thought about it at the beginning. We wanted like celebrity pub owners to take part. People like the woman who won Bake Off a few years ago that owns a pub. I forget her name, Candace. Or Ian McKellen owns a pub. And we thought it would be really great if they could spread the news of it. I think instead we wanted to put all the budget that we had into match funds. So we decided to do everything organically. And I guess like I would think, probably a lot of people on this call would think like the Matthew Paris column was really like an influential person in our industry finding the campaign on his own and writing about it without us getting in touch with him was a big moment where we thought like it had entered conversations in the UK. So Holly asked a good question. How did you manage messaging and consistency of messaging with local pubs who were proactively doing their own PR about Safe Pub Life when either rallying local consumers to support their pub or commenting on the state of the industry? Did you provide media packs or any support? Yes, we provided like any possible thing you could want if you were a pub owner, because they, you know, hadn't done this before, didn't know how to find their local newspapers, you know, contact information, what they should send them. So we gave them like a template email to send to their local newspaper, template messaging, photos. And then if they wanted to, they could reach out to me and I could support them. And my PR firm was really helpful as well and did a bit of media training with the pubs that we identified that there were really willing spokespeople to be a part of it. Did media training, sat in on case studies with papers, and really helped the pubs, you know, figure out what their message was. And we wanted it to be really authentic as well. So we wanted the pubs to say, this worked for me. And, pubs in a few interviews said, I have XYZ locals that used to come in every single day. And, the way that I'm reaching out to them now is through Save Pub Life, or I'll go sit on their doorstep and we can hang out and just, it's a different way than we used to. And stories like that, like we couldn't really provide, but really brought home the value of pubs to the media, I think, and to the public. Just picking a new question. Karina said, are you considering continuing this campaign once lockdowns are over, or is it temporary? I think we would like to continue it. It's just figuring out the best way to do that, because we want to continue to support the pub industry. Recovery is not going to be like straight away. And so it's thinking about the best way that we can do that throughout this year and beyond, I think. And I think it will involve the Save Pub Life branding, but I'm not sure what it will look like yet. But hopefully we will figure that out soon, and you may see it in the media. So Alex said, was it hard to get buy-in from key stakeholders when there was a lot of financial expense with no guarantee return on investment? It wasn't really. People really wanted to figure out how to help pubs. We knew that every part of our industry was suffering, but there was, in Britain especially, I think just a lot of love for pubs. And right away, as soon as pubs closed, there was kind of a directive in the business, let's figure out what we can do. And I remember when our in-house marketing agency presented the campaign, the feedback was let's do this immediately. It wasn't I have some changes. Let's try to find the budget or whatever. It was how quick can we get this online? So everyone was really, really keen to help pubs. Nina asked, how did your staff engage with the campaign? Presumably it provided you with some great internal comms content. Nina, my old colleague, hey. It was great. It really, really rallied people internally. And we have a culture where we come together in our office bar every Friday. There's a lot of, we do really well when we're in the office together. And this was, the first month of all being home. And so we really could use some employee engagement at this time. And it really brought people together in this time of uncertainty. Everyone was so excited about it. And everyone wanted their local pubs to sign up. I emailed all of the local pubs near me and asked them to sign up, and everyone did the same. And there was a lot of, we had some contests for employees to win gift cards, to the pub of their choice. And it was, everybody was getting involved in this campaign, and some people's roles, had shifted because, the people who work primarily in pubs and pubs were closed, a few of them came onto this campaign to run the campaign. So it was a really kind of cross-functional effort at Budweiser. And it definitely was one of the ways over lockdown that we all connected to each other. George asked, were you concerned that the Budweiser brand would get missed out of messaging with the focus on pubs? Yeah, I was a little concerned about that, but it wasn't a big deal, really. I thought it would be amazing if, Save Pub Life became its own brand. And the Budweiser Brewing Group logo was on all the materials, but really we wanted to support pubs. And hopefully people would know that Budweiser was behind it. And most of the media coverage did mention Budweiser. But now I wonder if the brand could stand alone, and if it could, be associated with Budweiser Brewing Group, but doesn't necessarily need the logo and the references, because people might know. Probably not quite there yet, but I think we were so kind of set on helping pubs that it wasn't a huge issue if someone didn't mention Budweiser. And And Nina asked, how did you navigate being political without being too political? I think that, so we did a lot of like public affairs outreach on this campaign. We reached out to, so we found out all of the pubs that were in the, top 100 earners. So the people who had made the most money. And we sent all of their MPs a letter to say, this is how your local pubs are rallying their communities and how they've successfully engaged with Safe Pub Life. And we had a lot of MPs engaging with us on social media about it and, praising the local pubs and their constituencies. We also had the business minister come onto an internal meeting with all of our staff to thank the people that worked on the Safe Pub Life campaign and worked on the hand sanitizer outreach that we did. We created it in our breweries and distributed it in our local communities. And I thought that was really, really nice for all the people that worked so hard to get this campaign up so quickly. And we feel like supporting British pubs is something that everybody has in their best interest. It's such an important industry, and there's a lot of important industries that need, more support than others right now. And so we're working with, the trade associations that we're a part of to make sure that pubs get all the support that they need, and making sure that we are coming at it from an industry point of view. So that, it's not just Budweiser being political and saying pubs need support. It's all major brewers and major pub chains. And that's what we found has been successful for us. Tara says, hi, Maeve, is there anything you would have done differently? It's a good question. I don't know. Maybe had more time. I know that's a terrible answer. It was just really, really quick. And we even in the morning that we launched, we didn't have the right color scheme and logo on the website, but we just really wanted to launch because it was a Friday. So we did. And then a lot of the media coverage used the old logo, which is not a big deal, but it would have been great to be able to, plan it as if I would, plan any comms campaign that I do. Would have been really nice, I think. But I think there's usually loads of different, things I would do differently when I run a campaign. But this one I actually thought went really well. And I was really proud. And there was a lot of people that helped. I only did the comms. My PR firm helped with most of it. And there was a lot of people that worked really hard to make it all happen. Charlie asked, do you believe that targeting regional publications and broadcasting was more effective than national? As Pub Life is so focused around your local, it would be interesting to hear. I do. I think it's good that we had a mix. I thought the national press that we got was really, really good. And it meant that we sold a lot of gift cards on the days that we had big pieces in national media. But I also think in order to get more pubs to sign up, it was really crucial to do that local media. And we found that after we did all the local radio interviews and the local case studies, we had a lot of pubs from areas that we didn't have pubs before. So some people were going to their postcodes and not finding any pubs. And we wanted pubs to be literally all around the UK, every part we could reach, basically. And the radio interviews we thought were really, really successful. So I think we have time for about 2 more questions. Abby said, hi, Maeve, great insights and great work. Thank you, Abby. I wanted to know your tips on getting the headline right for the press to pick up. I think headlines, I've been doing corporate PR for 10 years, and headlines are tricky. I sometimes think that, we have the greatest headline and it's, what journalists wouldn't use it. And then the headline they use is completely different. And some people, internally that might not understand how exactly PR works will ask if we can change it. I think it's important, especially for this campaign, to tailor it to the audience. So for every kind of moment in this campaign, we did a trade press release to our pub publications, and we would make the headline about how it can help pubs. So when we did the consumer survey, we would say, 93% of Brits want to return to the pub, but 40%, but like safety is a high concern or something, because that's way more interesting to pub owners than, hearing that we sold, 5,000 gift cards yesterday and how you can buy a gift card for your local pub. And so I think it was thinking a lot about the audience. And for the local pieces, we really went local and talked about, what pubs have made what amount of money and how other pubs can do it too. Holly says, was there any negative coverage or issues that arose? Obviously, the coverage was overwhelmingly positive, but would be interested to know if there were any surprising or anticipated negative comments. Good question. I actually don't think that there was. And I've dealt with negative coverage in all of my roles. I think that because this was Budweiser Brewing Group saying any pub in the whole UK can sign up. We're not just going to ask our pubs that we sell our beer in to sign up. And also, you can spend the gift card on whatever you want. A lot of people, don't drink beer or want to eat food or whatever. We did not want to dictate like how it could be spent. All we wanted to do was provide funding and help provide more funding by getting the public involved. And so fingers crossed, no negative coverage yet. And hopefully that will remain. I think I have time for like one more question. Narek says, did you pay media for coverage or encourage them with any other incentives? So we did pay for the radio day. We, at the launch in March, we didn't pay for any coverage. It was all editorial, but then we did need a bit of a pickup. And there was kind of a lull, pubs were remaining closed. Lockdown was carrying on. And so we paid for the radio interviews. We paid the agency who helps conduct the interviews and seed them out to stations. And I thought it was a really good return on investment. I think we had agreed with the radio agency that we'd get like 35 interviews or something. And I think because, there wasn't that much news happening and this was really interesting, we ended up getting like 75, which was awesome. So yeah, that is what we paid for. And we also paid for the consumer research. That was the content for those interviews. Let me answer one more question. Sorry, just choosing a relevant one. Yasmin said, what are the key ways to sustain the energy to maintain a 3 to 4 month campaign? I feel like it was really, really crucial to plan out the stages of Safe Pub Life. Like as soon as we came above water from the launch, we were like really, really wrapped up in launching Safe Pub Life and doing the interview with Ian King and getting the website up, getting pubs signed up for a couple weeks. And then once that had died down, we sat down with our PR firm and they helped us really map out what the campaign could look like for the next few months. And we had no idea when pubs would reopen at all. And so it was really, really helpful to have a plan of, rallying the community and launching and getting as much coverage as possible, as many pubs to sign up as we could. And then to think about doing the consumer research, think about people returning to the pub and what that might look like. And then evolving that. I think the really key thing for us was we evolved Safe Pub Life into that support for our customers. So anyone who used Safe Pub Life could go in, any pub who used it could go in and order discounted PPE or order special cups to take away, or like these mobile bars or whatever. And there was so much work needed to do that, to move people who were not our customers with data and all sorts of issues to make sure that we could continue supporting them and continue contacting them. And then the last phase with reopening. And then the best thing was that we were able to redo it in November. And that happened really, really quickly as well. As soon as pubs reclosed for that month-long lockdown, we thought maybe in like a perfect world, we would, pubs were meant to open in December, which I know they did in a lot of the country. And we thought people could use the gift cards then. But people probably will use those gift cards they bought for Christmas, like in a few months when pubs reopen again. Cool. So I think that is all that we have time for. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone at Cision and everyone who answered a question. If you want to get in touch with me, please email me or tweet me or whatever. Very happy to chat about how it went. So thank you.
What a great session. Thank you, Maeve. That's great. Thank you for taking us behind the scenes of the campaign. It was really interesting. I'm definitely in the 93% of people raring to get back in the pub. I've even got my favourite pub framed behind me. To head over to the next session, it's going to start at 11:05, so you've got a little bit of time if you want to go and get a cup of tea or anything. We've got a link below at the bottom of the page that says watch the next, at the right hand side of your page to go to the next watch session. And I hope to see you all there. Thank you very much.